Joe McDade is at the age when many people retire, but he is still going at it, seeking still another term in the U.S. House of Representatives. The 65-year-old McDade is facing the strongest challenge he's had in decades. Joseph Cullen, who was only 4 years old when McDade was first elected, is after the seat McDade has locked up for so long. McDade doesn't seem to be worried.
We find, in fact, little influence on his negative campaign in those counties. In fact, if anything, looks to us like he's buttressing our support. So we're doing our very best. We're running our campaign. We're trying to communicate with the media, trying to communicate with people in our district.
McDade's two opponents, Cullen and Reform Party candidate Thomas McLaughlin, discussed the issues recently in Dunmore. McDade was a no-show, saying Cullen's negative style has ruled out any debates on the issues. Cullen disagrees.
Andy, is that after 34 years in office, someone should be willing to stand up in public and defend their record. I think that Joe McDade has changed his mind about some of the votes that he's made this past session.
This is the 38-year-old Cullen's first try at elective office, and he's had a lot of help on the campaign trail. When the vice president was in town, Cullen was at his side. When the Interior Secretary was in Lackawanna County, Cullen was there, and Cullen says he is serious about winning this race.
Well, I got into this because I'm concerned about the future of northeastern Pennsylvania.
For a while, it was McDade's future that was in question. He was tried for bribery and racketeering and found not guilty.
There's a vindication syndrome. People are aware of the fact that we were found to be innocent, and they approve of that verdict. And so it's very reassuring to understand that they understand and agree with the verdict, and that's very enheartening.
The organizations represented here are not new. The services they're providing are not new, but it is coming out here to the mall that makes this whole thing rather unusual. 3, 2. Instead of looking for help, the help comes to you. I'm Andy Palumbo in Scranton, and I'll have that story. Trees down and all sorts of weather-related problems in Scranton. I'm Andy Palumbo, and I'll have that story. When the power goes out, it's not only an inconvenience, it can be deadly. The woman in that house back there is on a respirator. When the power went out, so did the respirator. That's when the paramedics came here to help save the woman's life.
Something like that. But now what we have to do, we're getting some heat about it, we're going to have him examined independently by a city doctor.
Clee says the independent doctor should be the one who determines if Yatko comes back to work. Clee is hoping that Yatko could be placed back on light duty. If people and businesses in this area think they're in the clear now that the new bridge is open, well, think again. This is the scene just around the corner from where the new bridge was opened up. This is Jackson Street, where a new water line is going in. There's no easy solution to the problem they're facing here in Lackawanna County. They're looking for some help from Harrisburg in the form of tax reform, but don't expect that help anytime soon. The shooting did more than injure one man. It put the entire neighborhood in jeopardy. Take a look at this. This bullet was found right in the middle of North Irving Avenue, about 100 feet away from where the victim was hit. Now that St. Anne's has been designated as a basilica, that does not mean we're at the end of the process. Actually, we're not too far away from the beginning, because they have a number of special events planned here at St. Anne's, leading all the way up to the formal rededication of the church next autumn. In Scranton, Andy Palumbo, 28 Eyewitness News. As to what the moose was doing in these parts, well, that's still a mystery. No one has gotten close enough to the moose to ask him. But there's two theories being kicked about. One is that moose is hungry. The other theory, the moose is just doing what comes naturally. He's out here looking for love. Just because things are going well now does not mean these farmers are in the clear. Several farmers told me they're very worried about the recent spell of cool weather, and if that means we're going to get an early frost, because an early frost will mean an early end to the harvest of '96. In Scranton, Andy Palumbo, 28 Eyewitness News.
They don't want anybody breeding. They want nobody breeding. Well, they've got an overpopulation problem. They've got people who don't want them. What they're trying to do is they're trying to take away your right to say you want a Labrador or you want.
Downtown malls, like the one here on Lackawanna Avenue, are the exception rather than the norm. Other malls around here are in the suburbs, but a downtown mall can work. Just ask Steamtown's general manager.
We're extremely happy. I think the results that we've achieved have far exceeded what our plans were back in 1992 and 93 when we were building the shopping center.
Coke and Jack calls Steamtown the premier shopping center in this part of Pennsylvania, and one of his customers pinpointed one of the reasons for the mall's success.
I like the mall. It has a lot of different stores in it that the other malls don't have.
And as Wilkes-Barre contemplates building a mall like this in its own downtown, some advice from one of the people who saw this controversial project through some rather dark days.
Work hard, cooperate, get everybody sitting down at the table, and everybody has to check their egos at the door.
Connors is predicting success for the Wilkes-Barre project if they do things the right way. The shopping center proposed for Wilkes-Barre is only about 20 miles away from this mall. So are they concerned about the competition? Well, the general manager here says no, not really. Only 5% of their business comes from Wilkes-Barre, and he thinks both malls can survive in a highly competitive atmosphere. Mall and Scranton officials say the rest of downtown has benefited from the mall's presence, and they think the same thing can happen in Wilkes-Barre. In Scranton, Andy Palumbo, 28 Eyewitness News.
This is the 400 block of North Irving Avenue.
Monday afternoon, Scranton police focus on known hotspots for crime.
Since Wednesday, there's been approximately 7 to 8 shootings and a stabbing, which were all directly related to the type of culture that is in that neighborhood.
Scranton patrolman Donnie Hickey says the driving force behind that culture is drugs. Police say the 7 shootings and stabbing last week were all connected. The crimes involved 2 drug rings, a Jamaican outfit from the Bronx, the other from New Jersey.
I know that there's the Crips out of New Jersey, and they've been up there.
Officer Hickey says both gangs are competing for drug territory, and it's no secret there are high-powered weapons in the hands of these young drug turf enforcers.
Drug trafficking generates so much money that generally a person's life and the sanctity of life means nothing to these people for the common dollar.
Police have made inroads.
There's 16 people in jail now. There'll be more in jail by the end of today or tomorrow, and this gang and these rings will be broken up.
Scranton Mayor Jimmy Connors praises police efforts, saying he knows it's no game out there. These suspects are bold, brazen, and daring, and would not hesitate to kill.
They value life so little.
See you later.
Please, bread and water. Come on, see, Jim got one, did he? Age 49. I'm 50 years old, but I have to follow my daughter to get me out on bail.
Oh, okay.
Call Joe.